So, um, my name's Kirsten, and for the past year or so, my friend Kristee has been trying to get me to start a vlog. She managed to get me to do a joint vlog with her over like summer and winter breaks, called the Fangirl Exchange. And since I started doing that, she has now moved on to trying to get me to. Damn it, Anna! She's now moved on to trying to get me to start my own vlog. And today she decided to try and speed up that process by tagging me in her VEDA post or video about travel. And she left me questions that I have to answer and so on and so forth. The first question is list all the places you've traveled to and visited. Well, that's kind of hard because I've lived in Illinois, Pennsylvania twice, two different sides of Pennsylvania, Maryland, Florida, and now Texas. I go to school in Delaware. I've been essentially all up and down the East Coast, Massachusetts, New York, Jersey, Pennsylvania, Delaware, Maryland, Virginia, both the Carolinas, Georgia, Florida, Alabama, Illinois, Indiana, Kansas, Colorado, Missouri, Texas, New Mexico, Oklahoma. There are more I don't remember, but I've essentially been to most of the US. Now, outside the US, the extent of my travel abroad was a Disney cruise when I was about 8. So essentially I've been nowhere outside the US. Next question is, what's the favorite place you've visited? And that's kind of hard because I've been just in the US and every place is different and I like just about every place, but I'd have to say it's a tie between living in North Florida and then in North Texas. Like, not North Texas, just in the northern part of Texas. And they're very, very different cultures, but I was sort of raised more so in the southern parts of the US, and so I like the South better, even though I like cold weather. Third question is, what's your dream location? And this goes back to having lived in a zillion different places, and so it's really hard for me to say I have a dream location, because I've had to live wherever. Me and my friend joke that if we could, we'd just have an island and we just wouldn't have to deal with people and we could just like lounge on the beach and do whatever we felt like and it'd just be glorious and hole up and it'd be wonderful. But that will not happen, I can tell you. And so I'd have to just say just a place where the people are nice and I'm doing something that I love, and that's the extent because the place is only as good as the people. Fourth question is, what's your favorite form of travel? Well, considering that I'd never been on a plane up until about 4 years ago when I first started college, planes are not one of my favorites. Planes are actually probably my least favorite, apart from the fact that they're faster. I just like, it's not like I'm afraid of flying or that I just don't like it. It's just whatever, it's a plane. Like, I don't know, I'm not really a fan of flying. The seats are uncomfortable, you're stuck by people you don't know. There's no leg room for tall people like me or big people like me. And I don't know, I'm just not really a fan. Apart from taking illegal photography out the window, which I do almost every flight. So since I'd never been on a plane, we drove everywhere, like 18 hours in a car with my family, drove everywhere. And because of that, I have a great appreciation for travel that way, even though driving for really long periods of time is terribly boring. But I like it. I like seeing that and being able to stop if you find some little hole in the wall, whatever you're into, place out of the way, on wherever you're going, if possible. So I have a great appreciation for vehicular travel. And recently I took the train and I liked the train. It gets you there pretty quick. And the seats are so much more comfortable, and you're kind of just like left to your own devices for however long. You just have to pay attention to when you're supposed to get off. But my favorite form of travel, I guess I would have to say, is just get in the car and go. What's the worst experience you've had in an airport or on a plane? Well, that one's easy. This past winter, my brother and I were trying to get home from Philly to Texas, and it took us 3 days to get out of the Philadelphia airport. The first day, everything got grounded because the fog was so thick you really couldn't see like 2 foot in front of you on the ground. So nothing was going out. So we got our ticket changed the next morning at like 7:30, first flight out of Philly, ready to go. Got there a little before 6, so we should have had plenty of time to get through everything. And we didn't even get up to check our bags because everybody and their mother showed up to change their flight, and there was no like separation between the people who already had tickets and the ones who had to change their tickets. And so we got stuck behind everybody else, arguing with the clerks at the desk trying to get their ticket changed. And so we didn't even get up to security before our plane took off. And so we switched our flight again for another 7:30 the following morning, and we got there at 4:30 in the morning before everybody else, before even the people at the desk got there. Like the McDonald's in the food court area wasn't even open yet. We're like, we're not missing this flight because we got to go home. And we finally got out, but it took us 3 days. Next question is, what's the best food you've had abroad? Well, problem with that one is I've never really been abroad. And the one time I did, I don't really remember because it was like a cruise, and that hardly counts as being abroad because you do everything on the boat essentially, except for like during the day where you go out and do like excursions and stuff, and I was like 8 or 10 or something. So that hardly counts because then what do you eat when you're like that age? Like hot dogs and pizza and stuff like that. So it was really not like, oh, let's go try something. So I guess the best I can do with that would be moving to Texas and actually having like legitimate Mexican food and not like Americanized like Moe's or Caltor or any sort of place like that. Like while they're good, it's nothing compared to these places, and it's all delicious and spicy and fantastic. The last question is, what's your favorite part of traveling? And for me, it's the culture, like just getting to see how everything's different, like going to like the historical stuff, seeing the history behind a place, or like the food that's good there, finding all the little hole-in-the-wall local spots that the tourists don't go to, just to like actually experience how things are in a place. Especially coming from, I lived outside St. Augustine, Florida for 11 years. And just like the history of that place, and having all like the haunted tours and the historical tours, and there's the fort, and there's all this history and culture behind it, and that absolutely fascinates me. So that I think is my favorite part of travel. So you might know, probably will be seeing me again, and if that happens, then I will give you a whole hi, I'm Kirsten, here's who I am sort of thing then. So I hope everyone has a nice day, and I'll probably see you soon.